Hello dear friends, creative aficionados and truth seekers. Welcome to a frightfully exciting episode of Halloween painting. It's inspired by the ghouls and goblins and jack-o'-lanterns and all the scary things you could possibly imagine during Halloween. What I'm going to be using and channeling all kind of creative spirits to kind of lead us onto this adventurous art journey is an art canvas, 16 by 24. We're going to use acrylic paints by Master's Touch. We're going to use acrylic orange. We're going to use acrylic titanium white. We're going to use acrylic flesh color and acrylic lemon yellow. And as our base for the painting, we're going to use black Sargent Art acrylic paint. So the first thing we're going to do, basically I have poured a little bit of color into each cup and just a little water and kind of diluted and mixed them up to kind of this consistency. Consistency of like cream. So they kind of look like this. They're all in separate cups, but we're not going to touch them until we create our black base. The black base is a little thicker. It's kind of the consistency of liquid chocolate pudding. So let's start with this. Let's get some darkness into this painting. So there's no rules, rhyme or rhythm. We just pour it onto the canvas. Okay, just pour it all. And then try to spread it as much as we can to all four quadrants. See, it's kind of like tar. It has a life of its own, has a movement of its own. It doesn't have to be perfect because, yes, we're adding our own creative process into this. But also the paint kind of creates its own chemistry and its own rhythm. See how slowly it goes down. Pretty much the goal is I want to create a black spot in the middle. And that's okay for now. The next thing, I'm going to pour the rest of this out. This much is left over. And have fun with this, you know. You could create all kinds of abstract designs at this point. It also creates brainstorming of how your painting wants to, take. The next thing I'm going to pour is some orange. I'm thinking of large pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns. Always think from large to small. Right now we're just not focusing on detail, we're just focusing on the general composition. As you can see, they're already growing into their own unique little entities. Thinking of a large moon on this side. Large moon. Then you amalgamate the colors with each other to kind of guide you into the direction that it's going to eventually take. Then you pour the white. Make it come alive. Pretend like you're in your own creative lab. You are in control. You think you're in control at least. Experiment. And green I have because as jack-o'-lanterns they have scary foliage. Big leaves, haunting leaves. Let it marinate for a while. As you can see, there's growth happening. There's edges that are being built. There's barriers and bridges and friendships made. It's a party going on your canvas. A frightful party. This is the point I call chaotic. Now, you go from modern, abstract, to more realistic, I should say. So you take your tools of the trade, your traditional tools, and then you develop a plan, how you want to tackle the abstract to something conforming to reality, or nightmarish reality. Let's start out with the jack-o'-lantern. Let's create a frightful pumpkin. This is our scary pumpkin. It's not a really happy pumpkin. It's been bit by a zombie. And it's going through so many metamorphoses. It's becoming a very unique entity. The leaves are coming alive, trying to tell their story. The leaves come from a long line of foliage that have seen so many frightful things in their days. They have seen princes and counts rule the land. They have seen werewolves hide amidst their green, luscious foliage. They have seen beasts out to howl at the moon, all keeping secrets from the world. Let your mind be open to the possibilities. The possibilities that your inner mind is capable of imagining the most beautiful things, and yet at the same time the most frightening nightmares. Halloween, we try to repress the things that we fear. We don't want to think about them, especially death. But on Halloween, the most pagan of holidays, we embrace our inner fears. We try to face the things that scare us, that go bump in the night, that have haunted us, maybe since childhood. Maybe our fear of clowns, maybe our fear of black cats, maybe just fear itself, maybe shadows, or maybe our past. Who knows? Everybody has something that they fear. But on Halloween, it seems to be so normal. The abstract becomes the norm. What is it about Halloween? It's almost as if we become a whole different person, not afraid. We become invincible, almost. Zombies, monsters, ghosts travel around the streets, and we welcome them into our home. I think it's a healthy dose of this fear that helps us grow. This is going to be a scary tree, maybe with an owl sitting on it. Thousands of years old. The roots run so deep that it's practically ageless. Everybody has some kind of phobia. Maybe to a little degree, maybe to a lot. Some people are afraid of heights. Some people are afraid of being trapped in tight spaces. But it's all right. It makes us vulnerable. It makes us human. But on Halloween, it's not only the human that rule. It's the supernatural. It's the mysterious. It's the unknown. We get to celebrate the fear. We get to celebrate the unknown. Yeah, this is a tree that runs really deep. Its roots are so embedded into the deep soil. They reign with all the critters and worms that live beneath the ground. There's a whole universe, a whole different world of creatures that we don't even see, but they live in our soil. They live beneath the feet that we walk on. There's so many things that even science can't explain. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just hasn't been explained yet. Yeah, this is an abstract tree. And a black sky filled with peering eyes. And then the tree's limbs extend further and further into the deep darkness of the night. As you paint, you could meditate. You could get in tune with what's going on inside and tune out what you want to tune out. The busyness, the turmoil, the pain. You could escape into your own little universe. And it's all right. You're safe. There's no right or wrong. When you paint, there's no rules, limitations, defiances. It's just you and your creative mind. Let it all flow. Let your whole being run free. Just allow yourself to be you. Get in tune with your inner child, your inner happy place. It's art therapy at its finest. Here we're gonna pour a little bit more black in this corner here. There we go. There we go. Something about the moon, something about the mysteriousness of it harboring maybe potential life forms that we can't even maybe see or don't even have the technology to see. So many planets in the universe. So many people have fear of aliens, of extraterrestrial visitors, and their intentions if they were ever to meet us. In our daily life, that's stuff we put on the back burner. We go through the routines and requirements of everyday life. But eventually, we face the fears. And sometimes if we don't ascertain these fears in a very healthy way, they come up in our nightmares. It's our subconscious telling us things that we need to learn, that we need to be aware of. I think if you know the fears, just if you know the problems in life, it's easier to find a solution. Sure, you could avoid the fear itself. Like if people are afraid of heights, they could avoid high places. But it's the notion of knowing what causes that fear. What is fear itself for you? Confronting it is a road to healing what's bothering us inside. There's so much mystery, so much paranormal questions. There's so much more answers than answers. There's the scary jack-o'-lantern giving vibes to the moon, creating a swirl of activity on the most scariest of nights. Any culture you talk to, they have their version of what happens on either the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Saints, of the Spirits. People actually go to the grave of loved ones and they actually embrace the fact that they are gone. They embrace death. And death is a taboo item that people avoid talking. We deny it. We pretend it doesn't exist. but on a few days a year, or in some cultures, there is no divide between death and life. It's a continuum. Just like in some cultures believe in reincarnation. Life doesn't stop, it's a continuation. Just like in the law of physics, energy cannot be created. It can only be transferred. So there you go. It's a law. So if it cannot be created and only transferred, life continues with no beginning and no end. We are examples of this incredible continuum. There's various opinions. And you have a right to your opinion, you have a right to your own beliefs. That's what makes the world amazing. We have all different points of view. In my opinion, life is just the beginning. Death is not the end. So this moon is having an incredible reaction, and we're going to create one more swirl here. This painting embraces all the energies, all the active forces, supernatural forces, spirits coming out, infusing the minds of us into thinking in a whole different perspective, embracing the unknown, seeking the truth, and celebrating who we are.